Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to be making some peanut butter cookies. And I know this is not a preserve like your vegetables and stuff, but I am going to be preserving them because I'm going to put some in the freezer for a later date. And that way we can have cookies whenever we want them. And we won't have all these yummies laying around and gaining 5 pounds off of a couple of cookies. We'll have them, you know, within a month. We can eat on them here and there, take a few out. So that's my preservation for today. I'm kind of new at all this and just want to get something in my freezer. I've been doing this since my garden started producing, and then we had a heat wave, and the heat wave has killed most of my plants. I did replant my beans and my peas, not my beans, and I did replant some tomatoes, and hopefully I planted a lot of stuff in some green stalks in the shade. I mean, it's 105 degrees. It's just burnt everything up, and I'm just tore me up. I've spent so much time and so much money building my raised beds, and to have the heat burn them up. I don't care how many times you water, the heat is just so intense. I'm down in Texas. I'm in Southeast Texas. And honey, when it says 105 on your thermometer outside, you're really like 108 or 110 feels like. So it is hot, and it's going to be in the hundreds up until next week. So maybe y'all keep your fingers crossed for me that my second planting might be a little better. I don't know. We've got the month of August to go through. So the heat is intense. Let's get to baking these cookies. My recipe calls for 2 1/4 cup of flour. Well, we're going to start off. My chickens' eggs are tiny. Let me show you. They're wee bitty. So instead of using 2 large eggs, I'm going to use 4 small, extra small eggs. And I'm going to break them up real quick and get them in this bowl. I'm just going to put them in my mixer. They're pretty little eggs. They're really golden, but they're tiny. So tiny. But they're doing a good job, I guess. Yeah, there's some tough shells. But I'll let them go around in my yard and do the little pecking business. Anyway, I'm going to point you down to my mixer, and we're going to get these peanut butter cookies mixed up. So I put my eggs in, and I'm gonna blend them up, and I'm gonna get my butter slow it down so it don't. It'll just stop it, I guess. Calls for a cup of butter. I laid my butter out. My grandson thought I left it. He put it back in the fridge. So I had to help it out a little bit. So it's a little bit there we go. Okay, I'm gonna mix that good together. And I'm gonna add my sugars. And it calls for 2/3 cup of white sugar. I'm just gonna let that blend really well. And I'm gonna add in my 3/4 cup of brown sugar. My oven preheating to 350. I'm going to cook these on my baking stones for about 10 to 15 minutes, give or take. That's getting nice and creamy. I'm going to put in my 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I have 1.5 cups of peanut butter that I'm fixing to add. Make sure everything's getting mixed up and right. I have 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 3 teaspoons, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I've mixed that in with my flour, and that gets looking good there. I'm going to start adding my flour. I've mixed my baking powder and salt in here with it. That is the lowest speed. See, I can't do nothing but make a mess. Give this a good scrape down again. The last thing I'm gonna add is 1.5 cups of chocolate morsels. I like the semi-sweet chocolate morsels. You can use chocolate, just regular chocolate. Whoops. Let's get another 1/2 cup in there. Just nothing like a peanut butter cookie. You know, I said I was going to preserve some of the, put some in the freezer. I just hope they make it. Okay, I'm going to cut this off here and take you over to my counter. Okay, we're fixing to load up these trays and put them in the oven. And I just got a little ice cream scoop. And I probably should have chilled this dough. But impatient me says no. And while these are baking, I'm thinking seriously about letting some of this dough cool in the fridge. And I'll bring you back when they're done. How about that, biscuits? Okay, second batch out of the oven, and I'm having to let these cook. I think I'm gonna let them stay on the pan for just a little while. I'm having to let these cook for 17 minutes, and usually they cook so much faster on these stones. But anyway, I cheated, and I went ahead and tasted a bite. And they're so moist and chewy. You can cook them longer and get a crunchier peanut butter cookie, but this time I wanted a chewy one. They're good. You gotta make you some. As the Colonel would say, they're finger licking good. But anyway, when I get through baking all of these cookies, I'll bring you down and show you the end results. I'll talk to y'all in a little while. During this challenge, I know I was gonna say I was gonna preserve those cookies, which I will, but I got to thinking, my friend has an abundance of eggs, and she gifted me a dozen and a half, and my other friend gave me a dozen, plus my little bitty ones, and I thought, what a great way to make, you know, some pickled eggs. And I'm just going to use my dill pickle juice that I've been saving and just drop them in there and let them sit in the fridge and pickle. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna take you over to my stove and show you. She's got different colors of egg layers. There's some green, brown, white, and anyway, I thought I would add those to my, well, let me get the rest of them in here. I forgot about these. Now these were store-bought, and I just like to hear the crack. There we go. It makes them so much easier to peel. There we go. Seems like maybe I hit it on the stove. Once you hear that little crack, you know you've got it. Plus I've got all of my chicken eggs. Okay, I'm going to bring you back when I get all these cooled off and ready to plump into my pickle juice. I'm just going to put these right in the pickle juice. got those. Here we go. I saved my pickle juice for just things like this. You know, a few peppers here and there that I don't want to pull out the canner for. I'll just slip them down in that pickle juice. And these two, I think I'm going to leave out. Put these in the refrigerator, and in a couple of weeks you'll have tasty, tasty pickled eggs. And onto my I also made some spaghetti, and I did not mix all the sauce because I made too much. I just kept adding and adding, and I'm going to put this in a freezer bag and put it in my freezer, not my fridge. And the next time I have company coming over, we'll have spaghetti and French bread. I'm going to let that freeze flat like this so it won't take up so much room, and put this in my freezer for a later date. That's another thing I'm preserving today. Cookies. This is my last batch of cookies in the oven. They just got maybe a minute and a half left, and that's all the cookies. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing. And I appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye now.